honor to introduce Jeremy Spira to this episode of The Wax Toaster, the infamous Duke of Denver.
Welcome. For those that don't, please like, subscribe, share these videos. We are now on all forms of social media, Twitter and Facebook. Your mother is on those things. You should be too. Is yours?
I think so. I haven't talked to my mom. I haven't talked to my mom in a long time, but I think she's out there.
She's on Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can tweet her.
Yeah, we should
just be like, hey, check out this interview of your son.
At my mom right now.
So
watching.
Joey's got an interesting first question for you.
Okay.
Have you always been more fun to watch than Brian Aragon?
No.
What do you mean?
No. You're asking me if I think I'm more fun to watch?
No. Have you always been? Like, I'm saying this as a matter of fact.
Objectively, I seriously doubt that. I mean,
so you're saying you have always been?
Some might say.
No. Some might say,
Some might say. I might
like
that.
So this
some people like certain foods, and some people like other kinds of foods.
So this time period Joey's talking about, can you bring us back to the beginning of what got you skating against Brian Aragon and all these different contests and around the world? And how'd you get on blades? What happened there? How'd you do that?
Well, so that's a long story, right? How I never competed against Brian really in contests, that's for sure. Maybe once or twice.
Yeah, come on. He's in Denver. You guys do the stomp. It had to be a couple times. You guys are brushing shoulders in the heat of the comp.
I don't know. I met Brian pretty early on, but I got into skating. We can start there. We can go all the way back, and then
let's start there.
And then we can meet up with Brian later. I got into skating because of my older brother, Dan, and I think he had begged for rollerblades for Christmas, way back, 93 maybe. We were little tykes, and so we kind of shared them. I mean, he used them more. They were probably too big for me. But I think there were some colorful rollerblade brands or off-brand with 3 wheels. So you couldn't grind in them, but you could definitely roll around and bomb hills and try 180s and stuff. I want to try 3 wheels again. I wonder what that's like. And then my brother kept skating, got hit at Rossi Streets, and then I think I inherited those. And then my first private pair of skates were rollerblade squashes, which were like the Dirks, but for kids. They're smaller sizes. So I think I got those for my birthday one year, and then it was now I can grind and do soul grinds and stuff. Had a soul plate. And
what did you see that was that made you guys want to get grinding skates? Was there you guys are okay, we have these skates, but we need these because did you see anything, or was it just super common?
I think it was probably on TV a little bit. I think I just followed my brother because he was just into it. It's we were never into skateboarding. We never had skateboards. We always had mountain bikes or whatever. And so I just kind of followed him, and he'd always pressure me to go to the park. He'd be come skate with me, bro. Come skate with me. And I'd always be yeah, I want to play with Star Wars toys or something. And eventually I just I was all right, this is pretty fun. We had this park pretty close to our house with a pavilion with a 3-stair and a little garden ledge that was all waxed up. So that was we skated there for a good chunk of our childhood and kind of learned. And then he kind of when he got into high school, he kind of dropped out of it and that kind of thing, but I just kept going. And that's kind of when we both met Tommy Boy, John Stevenson, about the same time. That's a pretty funny story.
How'd you meet Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
We were when my brother worked at the Cherry Creek Mall at a place called Mrs. Fields Cookies. So I had a buddy at middle school. We'd bomb this hill down to the mall and bug him or go skate in the back of the mall or smoke weed in by the river. And so we were like bugging my brother for cookies or something. And I had my backpack on with like my squashes, and Tommy Boy just like runs up out of nowhere and is like, "You rollerblade, dude!" And like start like screaming at me, and I'm like, "Whoa, yeah!" Like I rollerblade, and he's like, "Oh, cool, man. Those skates are kind of lame or whatever, but like, you know, like you could come skate with me and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, like my brother's your age," and I pointed out my brother, and my brother's like, "Meet me in the back, like on my break. Like we'll see who can blade or whatever." And like, so Tommy Boy is like skating back there with his like Fifth Elements on, like 180ing the stairs already, like getting all pumped up for my brother to come out. My brother's like, "Yeah, like he's pretty good, and like he knows his stuff." Like my brother barely knew like names of grinds, but he would like huck a royale down a rail. He just didn't like, wasn't like that serious. We didn't own any videos. We might have like 2 magazines or something. So that was kind of funny. They had like a little like skate off and like sized each other up, and I was like in my big Jinkos just kind of watching. So, and that's kind of how we met Tommy Boy. And then they skated for a while, and then like my brother fell off, and Tommy Boy started like hitting me up, and we actually went to high school together. So he would like take me out skating on our lunch break, like to some spots like up the road or whatever, and like I could barely skate a rail, but that was like the first time like skating some hard stuff with Tommy Boy. It was fun. He was like seriously
people that like really took you around for the first time. Everybody kind of has that like older mentor, and would you say Tommy Boy was that person for you?
Oh, for sure, yeah, because he like brought all the kind of like better kids together, or like my generation of kids. I would say like it was like Tyler Brooks and Colin Carr, and then like we later on met Brian, but like he was the one like had a car, and like Colin Carr would take a bus down from Boulder and we'd go skate downtown, and like Colin was like really good. He was like better than everyone at that time. So that's kind of how my introduction to like everyone, and I just like quickly would got better from there. Just skating with real people, watching real videos, and like getting into the magazines and stuff like that.
So this is right around like freshman, sophomore year of high school, you'd say? You're like learning the culture of rollerblading. You're getting like a crew together. It's not just your brother anymore.
Well, then I got shipped off to boarding school in California for sophomore and junior year. So it was
Where did you go to boarding school?
So it was called the Webb Schools in Claremont. It's kind of like a college prep kind of thing where you live there. And so Claremont, Pomona, that's like Inland Empire.
Okay.
So it kind of like the first year there kind of sucked because I was like, I just like made this group of friends skating, and then like got cut off. And then I think it was like the end of sophomore year and beginning of junior year, I met some guys from around there at like the local skate park. There's this guy like Nolan. I can't remember his name. He looked just like Broskow back then, so everybody called him Broskow. And he was like kind of loosely associated with like that L-Star crew from LA. So I got to skate with like Josh Latona when I was like still a grommet.
That's sick.
And that was pretty mind blowing. So yeah, that was fun. And I got pretty good because I would just skate like a P rail at my school, and then every time I'd go back to skate with the homies in Denver, they'd be like noticing I was like still getting good and getting better, and then by senior year I was like back in Denver skating a lot.
What, you just got shipped off to boarding school? Was it like the whole like uniform thing, or what was it like? What kind of like boarding school was it? I'm just curious because I went to private school myself.
Yeah, it wasn't like super uptight, but it kind of had that. Like you had like Sunday where you wore like a suit and tie.
Okay.
What prompted it? I don't know. I went to like the biggest public school in Denver for freshman year, and so I was like kind of skipping class, like hanging out, skating, smoking weed. So I think my parents kind of pushed it, and then I kind of like went with it pretty voluntarily, especially like to move to California. It sounded really sick.
Yeah.
And we visited, and like even the school there actually had like a lot of skate spots. So it was like there's like rails and like big hill bombs and stuff. So it was actually kind of kind of fun in that aspect. But
Wait, so what's it called? Maybe I'll go skate it.
yeah, the web schools of California.
The web schools, cool.
And there's a lot of good spots around there, like Montclair, some good skate parks too, like Ontario.
A little bit, but
yeah,
kind of deep.
All these little like cement parks. I think Montclair High School is like really sick, but I've seen a few clips.
So your come up in skating was, so you said you started in '93? You got them on your feet. You were moving around on blades
maybe
around then.
Maybe the first time I put them on and like ate shit on my ass. It was probably 93.
Damn. So 27 years of skating.
Sure, I'll take it.
Well, I know that because I was born in '93. I'm like, yeah,
for us.
the math's easy.
I was 7 years old or 6 years old. They're still pretty new. It's a pretty fresh thing that was happening.
So you've had quite a few sponsors. Like when I grew up skating, I would watch your edits and through the people you were sponsored by. What was your first sponsor? Like, how did that happen?
Rest in peace to I think most of them.
That's how a lot of it goes, right?
Yeah. We were just talking about that the other day. I was like, pretty sure like every sponsor I've had except for Razors is gone. Pretty certain about that. What was the question again? Sorry.
Like, how did you even get involved with Razors? Like, was there someone around you that was like, yo, I'm on Razors and I'm going to help you get on or something like that? Or what was?
Yeah. So like, it was right that time, like senior year, I think. There was a skate shop called BC Surf and Sport in Colorado. There was like 2 locations. Colin Carr actually worked at one location. So we would bug him. I don't know, maybe he worked after this happened, but we would bug the guy. There's a guy there who was like, I'm the team rep. And he would like, he probably didn't skateboard or rollerblade. You know, he was just like some nerd that they hired. But they're like, you got to talk to him. Like, you got to send him a tape or something. So I like literally put together a VHS sponsor me tape for BC Surf and Sport. And so they were like, okay, we'll put you on. And like, all it was like maybe like a shop discount, like, or maybe they gave me like a t-shirt, but that was it for like the beginning of it. But I think the whole thought process was that you would get flow for Razors by having a skate shop. Like that's how they did it back then. The area rep was Acres. So they're like, yeah, so, you know, once you skate for us, like you can, like now you can talk to Acres. Like when he comes to town, you know, he'll ask, you know, we'll introduce you or whatever. So then, you know, a little after that, Acres came and we were skating like Woodward Skate Park at the mall, and then he was there, and he was like, okay, I'll flow you skates. And that's kind of how that started.
Just like that?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, you can have skates now.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So then,
like, I mean, I had to show, he had to show up at the skate park, and I had to be like, oh shit. He's like, watching the Razors reps here. It's time to shine.
Just like when your brother and Tommy Boy met for the first time, you got to like show off, size up, show what you got.
Yeah. I wonder if Aragon was there too.
Oh, you guys were all like, it was like a Razors mini sesh.
I mean, Brian was already on there, so he knew Jeff, so he might have like helped arrange it or something. So
how did that transfer over to, then you were on, like when I guess you were already on NIM when I started skating, but I'd seen your Razors parts from like previously. How did you switch over to like NIM, which became Shima?
I pretty much quit Razors. I mean, it's like never went anywhere from flow, so it was just like it's kind of boring, and I didn't think like Razors really cared about like what was kind of going on at the time with skating, and like I felt like I didn't feel like I could be pro or like anything at that time. Like, you know, that's when like the dream main Razors team was on there, but they didn't have an AM team, so it was like, or they did have an AM team, but it was like Ski, Brent Hicks, and like I don't remember. There was a third one that was like, you know, these guys aren't
right.
When?
It's like the Icons era.
I think it was like right after the SL Super Light. That was like the last boot that I had from them. It was like the whole new boot design. But yeah, so it was like 3 guys that like don't really skate anymore, you know, like they weren't putting out edits or doing anything. And like Bellino was like coming up really hard then, and he was on Flow. So I just kind of like, I tried to make a case with like the guys at Razors, like, can we like make the AM team a thing? Like, can we get like a whole new like group of people on there? Like maybe including myself would be sick. And Jeff Akers was just like, he was cool about it. He's like, oh yeah, totally. But you just have to like talk to the big guy, you know, just like you have to call Andy and like, you know, give him your proposal or whatever. So I did, and he was just like, nah, like how many YouTube views do you have, and like all this like weird stuff. And he's like, yeah, like, you know, you're good friends with Aragon. He's going to college. Like I think I'd already graduated college at that point. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, it's not gonna work out. And then I think I skated for Revolution skate shop at the time, and I think maybe James had talked to Shima at some point and was like, yeah, I think Spira's like done with Razors. You should hit him up. And then so Shima hit me up, and that was that.
Revolution was probably one of the sickest sponsors to have. Those 90-second edits were so awesome. They were well produced, and it made everyone look really cool.
Yeah, I love those guys. I hope they're doing well. But how'd you
get linked up into Revolution? Like you just met James along the way type thing?
Yeah, like we'd always go down on road trips to Phoenix, like even before Revolution had started. And I think, you know, eventually they got pretty established there quickly, and like was doing like sessions, and like they would like take the photo of the crew who's like passing through. So that whole thing was happening. And I think Shane Singer is a friend of mine from Colorado who moved down there. So I think he was like always bugging James to like hit me up. So we just had a phone call and talked, and he was like, yeah, dude, I want you on the team. I was like, sick. And then he just kept adding people to the team, and it was like, dude, this is a sick team.
Yeah.
It was just like originally it was just like Jason Zwack and Damien, like 2 crazy blonde haired dudes.
Yeah, but by the end of it, it was like you, Bellino. There were some really sick names on that team.
Oh, dude, everyone with the 90-second edit was like, dude, those were so good.
Ryan Daly was a personal favorite.
Oh yeah, Ryan's sick. He's a local ripper.
Yeah, so sick.
Yeah, I think those edits are all like disappeared from the internet, haven't they?
It's so hard to find at this point.
Yeah,
it's frustrating because I actually went to watch one of them not too long ago. Maybe it was the Bina one. I couldn't find it.
Bina's was amazing. Bellino's. I think Chad had one. Didn't he?
Yeah, I think Chad Hornish did have one.
Yeah, maybe.
That crazy Canadian guy, Matthew Ledoux. I think I said his
had
name.
one. Oh, yeah. Didn't Lily had one?
Yeah, Mike's was sick. It's kind of that was sick.
Right?
Who?
Gumby?
I don't know if Gumby ever had one.
I don't think so.
So what do you so it's kind of like the mid 2000s what we're talking about in Revolution when that kind of broke up. It's around like 2015, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
So would you so it seems like a lot of that, like you were saying earlier, a lot of those sponsors have either dissolved or moved on to different things. How was Revolution like one of the last things, or like SSM? Like what was that past 5 years like since then?
Yeah, I can't remember what order. I think SSM was maybe my last sponsor.
What about like Psycho? Or
yes, I don't know. Like it just like I got a few boxes and we did that edit, and then it was kind of like it was done. You know, it wasn't, that one was like kind of no questions asked. Like it's, you know, what's going on? It's done. I think what's his name? He had kids. Josh. So
you also had quite a few kids.
Stop a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah,
it didn't stop me. I kept going.
Yeah, you have a bunch of little humans running around.
Yep.
How many you got now?
I got 3 kids.
3.
Yeah.
Very sick.
Yeah. It's fun. I recommend it. Everyone should procreate.
I see it happening more and more with people I'm close with.
It
More
tends
people are
to
talking
happen.
about it, planning it.
It just tends to happen, you know, especially with age.
Makes
People
sense.
have kids.
I'm thinking about getting a dog. That's more where my head's at.
Yeah, it's a good step, you know.
Yeah.
You start with a pet for a couple years, you know, get good at that. You know, the pet survives. You know, you might have a skill there.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I started with plants, and then I never moved to the dog because I couldn't keep the plants alive.
Plants are harder than dogs, I think. Like dogs will tell you, they can communicate. Plants will just fucking die, you know.
Yeah.
So that hasn't stopped you from making edits or skating, having children. How old's your oldest child?
Arden is 11.
Whoa.
Yeah, time flies.
So you had Arden when you were making trips down to Revolution and like doing the 90-second stuff. You were already a full-blown dad, like you had that role. And that didn't slow you down apparently. Well, I didn't even realize you had a kid at that time.
Well, the 90-second was a tough one because I think the kid she was just born or something, like she was a year. She was like a handful, and so I wasn't able to get like that trip. I did one trip to Phoenix, where we got a lot of clips, and because that one was like hard to pull off. It was like my first skate trip since she was born. And then X-Rated actually had to come out to Denver, and we just banged out the rest in like a week.
Oh, cool. So that's one that's
the soul transfer top soul at whatever high school that is, right?
Yeah, that was like one of the last ones. Yeah,
that was fun.
Which he ironically put first, but yeah, that was all like 1 week of skating. X-Rated and came to town.
Yeah.
So you're also we forgot to touch on your involvement with the vibralux team and like some of the dead dudes, and like how'd you get involved? Like, or you just knew a lot of the guys in the team, and when they would come through, you were just naturally in the sessions?
Yeah, like Denver and Kansas always kind of had like a common, like a synergy, like relationship. Yeah, sister city. Like I think Jeremy Morris would come down like every summer and skate with like the Benders and all that. So those dudes are always like around, and especially like in the summertime. So like when we started doing like the mile high battles and stuff like that, they would come through, and I think that's when I met like AJ. AJ, he like, I think Brian told him I had a bunch of footage of him on my GL2. So he's like, hey man, like he like approached me at the after party and was like here's $50, like just had like gave me the cash, and he's like I want you to like go in your car and like give me all your tapes of Brian. I'm like, of course, you know that we're grommets, we have all our tapes on us. So I just handed him a bunch of tapes of Aragon. That was like I think what's that video? Straight Jacket.
No shit.
Yeah. So we filmed a bunch.
Is there any like memorable ones that you specifically filmed from that section?
I can't remember the name of this guy. It might have been El Toro. He like 5'd that double set. It's filmed really bad. Like I filmed it really bad. There's that one. He like true topsoiled some ledge in California too, on the left. That was in like the Razors video a lot. I don't know. There's a lot. Like he did like all those like 450 backside tricks on that square rail.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, he like did like 450 back rail. I think that was like the first time he had done it on a rail. It was like on some drop rail.
Left-footed too, which was crazy.
It wasn't left-footed. It was right-footed. And then some other guys filmed to do it left-footed. So I think he did it. I might be mixing up parts, but he can do it both ways.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, but yeah, he did like full cab, or he did like true front unity. That was a big deal. So anyway, those are fun times. Yeah. those are fun. Then that was the fun times with Aragon, like just skating street and like, you know, I think he liked us because we knew all like the Denver spots and stuff. So, you know, he would hit us up and we'd film him and stuff, and he would film us too. Like he had his own camera, and so like a lot of those clips of me and the other boys from that time were, you know, Aragon filmed a lot of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't expect him filming too much. I just pictured him behind it.
I mean, you know, he like had the camera. Maybe he didn't do like all the filming of everyone. We had his camera. He had the camera and the fisheye, and we would get shit done.
So you guys was Ian Walker? Was he like running with you guys at that time? Was that he like part of the crew? And you guys were all like, who are some of those skaters that like, are there still guys around now that you guys were skating with? I know Aragon's got the park named after him.
Yeah. Yeah, he was around like, and you know, just through the years he'd skate more and more with him. I mean, it was like me and my buddy Tyler Brooks were like the ones that, like, he was the one I'd skate with the most. He was like my best friend, best man at my wedding and stuff. But yeah, we would like meet up with Ian and like Dustin Dieter. Those were like the dudes from, they lived in Aurora, which was slightly outside of Denver. And so like, you know, if we go down to Aurora, like Dieter and Ian knew all the spots down there. They're, you know, they're a couple years younger than us, so we kind of like, you know, we like tried to sun them and stuff for a while, and then like, you know, at some point Ian was like I'm a man now, and I was like, all right, dude, I'll be nicer to you, yeah. And then yeah, just skated over the years, and then Ian got into filming and editing and making videos. So, you know, Hot Wet Trash and El Chupo and all the other ones.
Humongous. So with that being said, are you guys working on anything now?
Yeah, we've been filming for like 2 years now. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's a good cache of clips that he has, and you know, he's the creative, you know, guy behind the lens. So we're just, whenever he's ready to put it all together, I think, you know, we're at that point, or I'm at that point. Like everyone's, you know, I think Jim's.
You guys are wrapping up. You can feel it in your skating.
Yeah, like well, just like the amount of clips, you know, it's like,
yeah,
like the amount of quality clips is like, okay, we could do like a good like 2-3 minute part, or even 4 minute part with that, and like, you know, starting to feel like, you know, you get to that point where you're like, what do I need? Like, do I need more like wall? Is there too many rails? There's too many like curbs or something? I need to start doing like, you know, more different stuff. So it's like just fine tuning now, and like maybe getting like some good choice, like spots you've been holding off on, stuff like that. And it kind of sucks that it's cold out, but
yeah, but that's a great place to be in like the process.
Right.
Yeah, where you're like, you can really pinpoint what you need rather than just like getting everything.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of how it starts out, you know, like you just start filming, and then you're like, well, you know, whoever's like accumulating a lot, it's like of clips, you know, it's like, okay, like maybe we could have a session or section, and I don't know, Ian keeps it pretty close to the vest as to like what, you know,
in his
like
work, he was hoarding them. He's hoarding the clips indefinitely.
That's his words?
Those are his words.
Something like that. Yeah, it's definitely loosely based on his words.
Yeah, it was something along the lines of, it's just all for him and his own enjoyment, and nobody else is. It's not really. He's not worried about anyone else ever enjoying it. So we can all take a deep breath, and maybe he'll bless us one day.
Yeah, it sounds like him. It's like, you know, maybe like trickle out a little like information, but like it's not going to be like this hyped up, like,
no,
you know, he's not going to make a new Instagram and like start pumping out like trailers, you know. It's like, it's going to be trickled out, and then it's just going to be like, boom, there it is.
Sounds about right.
So you've been filming for this video for 2 years. When was the birth of your twins? Because I know you have twins as well as your young daughter.
Yeah, the twins they're 2.5. So they're 2.5 years ago. Trying to think of like the date. So June 25th, 2018.
What's up? Those are good kids.
Is that your birthday?
Yeah, me and Dennis Lopez are born on June 25th.
Nice.
Yeah, happy Christmas.
There's some, that's, and guess when my Arden was born, my oldest daughter.
Christmas.
So they're exactly 6 months apart.
Yep. Half Christmas, baby.
Yeah.
Is that hard to have a birthday on Christmas?
Yeah. How did it go for her?
I think the first few years we did we did the half birthday on June 25th, which is funny.
Oh, cool. And then you got that ruined.
Yeah, so that's like bye. No, we stopped doing it maybe when she was 5 or 6.
Okay.
And we were just you can just have a party a week before Christmas. People won't get confused. It's like when your friends get a little closer, so if they're around, those are the ones that come on your birthday.
It's a good way of dealing with it.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. But that means you had twins, and then within a couple months you began what would be a 2-year filming process for this next video, where most people would maybe say something different right after having twins, oh, I really should take it easy on skating now. How do you work the balance? Are you just very disciplined, or?
Yeah, I mean, just skate when you can. Just go on missions. With Ian, it's very planned out. It's we're not just gonna meet up with 5 dudes and tinker around at drive around at spots and waste the day. It's we're watching skateboard videos, we're watching other edits, we're making a plan of spots and a plan of what tricks to do. I mean, generally just going to a spot that we know shit's gonna go down, and keeping it a good group of dudes that are gonna film, or if it's, I'll just show up for an hour or two, maybe try to get one clip, and then I gotta go, that kind of stuff.
But that's awesome that you still make it out, even though that that you're not going to be there for the entire thing. A lot of people will just say, fuck it. They can't take just doing a small portion, but creating that balance is really awesome to hear.
Yeah. And in the summer it's easier, because you have more light. And I think the way my wife and I can get by is either we do trade-offs and stuff, all right, you put the kid to bed one night, and then I'll get you the next night, or it's just if the kid's already in bed, my 11-year-old is fine. She doesn't need constant supervision. As long as the little ones are put to bed, it's you're good for the night. You don't need to be always on call. But it's a lot, It's 2 little children at one time is a lot.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
Getting the double whammy too.
Even with the experience of the first one, it's we're not ready.
So do you do any sort of extra stuff to be keep your body in shape?
I lately I have been, because of COVID has really I'm starting to feel it, but I've been just sitting around a lot and just have not been just moving as much as I normally would. But so I've just been doing maybe I'll do a couple push-ups in the morning or something.
Just body weight stuff?
Yeah, just body weight stuff. Maybe I have dumbbells, but I don't take it so seriously. I tried to do Billy's thing, and I maybe lasted 3 weeks of it, and then I kept taking more rest days, and it turned into rest weeks. So I'm still in the first month, trying to catch up. But that's it. Yeah, I mean, I think skating's really good, calisthenics. I feel pretty good still.
I just started wearing a fitness tracker recently, and whenever I skate, it's oh, you've worked out all you need for today. You're good. It's I feel I didn't do anything.
Yeah, see, I have an iWatch, but I take it off when I skate. I'm too scared to like smash it.
Yeah, I got one of these like no
Oh,
face
no
things.
smash. Nice.
The
Yeah, I should get one of those.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
put roller. No, it was rollerblading for like a day or two, and then they switched it to inline skating. So you can put that down in your activity and track yourself. It's kind of neat.
Oh yeah, they got a category.
Yeah, and you can get like a little ranking. Like I see where Cruz Sappenstein is. He's like in like the top 10. I'm like 50s. I want to be in a better ranking than him.
What's he doing? He's
He's
just big
like I
wheel.
look at his
Big
little
wheel.
thing, like it gives you little data like of the activities, and he's apparently boxing and running and doing swimming. He's got a
Good
lot of
for
different
him.
activities in there.
Well done, Cruz.
yeah, you're a
Admirable
good
guy.
boy, Cruz. I thought he was just taking the dogs for a skate, but
Yeah,
getting in there, punching the bag.
he's like putting the watch on the dog. Just,
All four charges
go
set up.
outside. Cheating a bit.
So
No, that's like
so you aren't a professional skater. You're not making your living through skating. How are you able to support? What do you do for work?
so for the past like 8 years, I've been working for my family's commercial real estate company, which was probably a good choice. And so we own like commercial like warehouses and like, office buildings, just in Denver. And we do all like the managing and leasing ourselves. So I've been doing, I got like my real estate license, and I went to grad school for real estate business. So I've been doing a lot of like, I did a lot of like the leasing stuff, and now I'm doing more of like, looking at the developments, and then occasionally we sell buildings and stuff like that.
Nice.
So
That's for
it's fun.
people that are curious as to what you do.
Yeah, it's not where I really saw myself. Like I didn't, when I was younger, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I always wanted to be like into something creative, filmmaking, or I went to school originally for documentary, like filmmaking and stuff. But you just, life happens, and you have kids, and you're like, how do I take care of these kids? And I had the luck of having that available to me, so I took it and I ran with it. But I think I'm starting, like, as I'm getting older, I'm starting like see the good parts of it. Like I like meeting people, and like you can do fun things, like like start a new business, like start a new type of business model, and like design architecturally, like the floor plan of a space, and like do interior design and all that shit. So that's been like pretty motivating for me. We just opened a co-working space. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like it's like an office with a lot of people in it, which is probably the worst thing to start during COVID. But we opened one downtown Denver, and that's been a lot of my time lately.
Do you guys use like are you restricted by any like COVID protocols and like what you're allowed to do right now? Like you'd probably know a lot of what's going on with that, right?
Oh yeah. Like meetings and stuff like that, and like just like capacity for offices. Like I think we're still at like 50% capacity. Depending on the industry and all that stuff. But like a lot of the way you make money on those spaces is like you have to get like as many people in there. Like you're basically like making a profit like out for like every square foot of the space. Like whereas like you could just like rent out a whole big office. This is like you're renting out like a chair, or you're like renting out a meeting, a conference room for like per hour. So it's like it takes a lot of work, and like COVID just kind of like,
It sounds like a lot more scheduling than just the one time buy, like everybody's constantly moving in and out.
yeah. You have to schedule it, and like you have to have all the amenities and stuff, like coffee and tea and snacks, and like make sure it's clean. It's a lot like running a hotel kind of. It's like more hospitality than just like real estate. So you have to like you have to have someone on staff and stuff. Fun stuff.
Wild.
Yeah.
It stinks that that's running you down. Like you're not able to maximize your profit right now, but it'll go back to normal at some point.
Yeah. Well, luckily, we own the building, so it's like we have a little wiggle room there to like not, COVID like detriment. But yeah, it's coming around already. It's like that kind of thing is gonna be more like people are gonna want to get out of the house. People working from home. So I think that kind of thing is like first on their radar.
Yeah, everyone that wants to escape a home office, that's like a prime place to go.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and like big companies are looking because like, they're, for whatever reason, obviously they sent people home. Maybe they didn't like their real estate plans changed, and now they're looking at these places like WeWork, and they're like, okay, we can try this out for a while, and then put like a little team in there, and if they don't like it, then we'll just move them over to this one, and it's like that. So
kind of makes sense, like especially the bigger corporations that had probably like whole office buildings that they were renting out, and now that they've realized that they don't have to, it's like he could handle most of it through a Zoom call.
yeah. I mean, that whole thing's been crazy to see like how offices are changing and people's needs are changing, like capitalism's changing. It's like, people are really reassessing their priorities. So we'll see where it happens, but it's like, you want to be on the cutting edge of it.
Yeah, and it sounds like, do you feel nervous at all about like your business model? Like, are you thinking about like a pivot, or are you just like it kind of, you have like a necessary? Do you feel like you're necessary?
I don't think nervous, but just trying to be like on top of like ahead of the curve, like with offices, like, that's going a different direction. Like, people or their needs are changing, and maybe it'll go back to like, oh, I'll rent an office for 5 years from you. And then you're like, cool. Like there's 5 years of income. But yeah, now you have to kind of, maybe it's more like hospitality. You have to be more like attentive to needs and like flexibility and all this stuff. So, and like technology, like your buildings have to have like technology and like good filters for like COVID and all this stuff.
Oh, they made you put in like air filters and stuff, or like they have required that?
Well, yeah, I think you normally just use like a normal air filter, like the quality that's in your house or whatever. But I think we upgraded to like this HEPA, like shit that can like block bacteria and viruses. So,
Crazy.
helps stop the spread.
It's definitely, you're the first realtor we've spoken to, especially you doing commercial real estate. Like we've spoken to some people that work as nurses too. So it's been interesting to get all the different details, like what people are experiencing in their different fields, how this is affecting everyone. But I'm going to take us on a jump, and I'm going to ask you, because you mentioned that you wanted to be involved with creative stuff, and you are in a bunch of different stuff. When did you start drumming?
Probably 2012 or 2011, maybe. As soon as that, I don't know. It was a while before like I was in a band. Like we would just, I think my buddy Larkin was pushing the idea. He had some drums. And I was like, yeah, drums would be like easy to pick up. So he brought those drums over to my garage, and we just started like banging around. Like my friend Larkin could play guitar, like self-taught, pretty good already. Like he could play some songs. He could play some like Black Lips songs or whatever. And so we were just doing that in my garage, and then eventually, like Luke Bender and like a bunch of people moved across the street from my old house. So that was sick. So we're like, Luke, can we like just practice in your basement where it's warm? It was like we were like freezing to death in my garage. So he was cool with it, and I think Dan Coleman was over there like doing like electro music. So that was like our in over there, and different people rotated in and out, like trying to play bass and stuff. But eventually it was like me, Larkin, this dude Jay Stone, who used to rollerblade and he used to be pretty good. And then this guy Dylan that like Jay Stone and Larkin knew through like the bar scene or something. I didn't know him, but he said he knew how to play bass. So then we formed the Best Creeps, and we did that for like 3 years maybe.
You guys were playing shows in Denver?
Yeah, so we, like those guys like worked at bars and stuff, so they knew other people in bands and like other venues and stuff. So eventually, when we had like like maybe 4 or 5 songs, we were like, hey, can we like jump in on a set at like this bar? And we started doing that more and more, like house shows and stuff like that, and just kind of went from there. Yeah, it's like just kind of bar stuff.
I think we lost your AirPods.
Those boys just die.
AirPods died. You hear me now?
Yeah,
you don't sound too bad. You're like too low or anything.
I'll talk really loud. I'm quiet.
So you basically, when Arden was born, you started learning the drums?
A couple years she was probably 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You guys are dissolved now, or are you guys still doing it?
Yeah, so no, we dissolved. We went like that, it was done. It's hard. It's like a hard life, like we were just like a bar band or whatever, but we played some big shows. But yeah, it's like late nights, a lot of drinking, a lot of just chaos, and like you're like running a business too, because you're getting paid like to play those shows, and you have to like promote yourself, and it's kind of competitive, like in the little Denver music scene, like who's getting the good shows and stuff like that. So like I kind of like took it upon myself to like manage the band and like make sure we had like a social media, and like we were getting like Facebook likes, because that was a big deal at the time. It's like why is this band always getting like booked? No, because they have like more Facebook likes or something. So that was stupid, but I would like email the promoters, and we got on a few good shows. Like we played for Ty Segall a few times.
Damn.
Some like Control Child, we opened for them twice.
That's sick.
Yeah. So like some good like garage rock bands.
That's really awesome.
But yeah, I mean, eventually just got sick. Like it was just too much. It was like becoming a full-time job to like manage the band and like book shows, and like the other dudes are like working late nights at bars and stuff. So it's just like eventually it just kind of fell apart. People just couldn't hang. I couldn't hang. I didn't really want to hang anymore. I was like,
that's okay though. Would you form another band? Is that in your horizons?
I mean, I play with like Jim and Zach and Dustin at the BLC house, just like for fun. I mean, I don't think those guys have maybe like wrote a couple songs that I've jumped in on, but that's pretty fun for me, just to like jump in on a jam session every now and then. I mean, I'd be down to do it, but like just like really casually, like nothing, like no pressure. Maybe like I don't have anything to do with like managing it. Maybe that would be good.
Just show up and play. It's more of the role you're looking for.
Yeah, the shows start at like 8, and then I can go home and go to sleep.
So
no more 1 o'clock. Fucking work. Wake up at 6 for work the next day.
Yeah, the closer I get to the age of 30, that's like less and less feasible.
Oh, it's brutal. Can't do it.
So what would you say inspires your skating? Do you look at other things to like inspire what you do in skating, or how you portray yourself in sections or anything?
I don't know. It just changes over the years. I think like early on when I was younger, it's definitely like who I was skating with. Like always looked up to, like Colin, Carr, like Brian. Like I was more like influenced by them and how they skated, and like just like being proud of like the local scene. And then kind of as I got older, I started watching like a little more skateboarding and like becoming friends with more of the skateboarders in Denver around the time, like talking about spots and like sharing spots, and like it was like it kind of opened up a whole new door of like where we could skate, because like we kind of first of all, Brian had just like murdered every like normal rail or like flat rail or ledge like around, so it was like we were getting to that point where like we need to like start finding like cooler shit, and like that's the rollerbladers haven't skated yet. So that kind of like pushed my style, like at least, like, and I think a lot of like the other dude like Howie had moved to Colorado around that time, like a little later on Cody and like Jeff. So like those guys we all kind of pushed each other like the limits of what you can skate, and then like and then it just kept going from there, like what you can skate, and then like what can you do on skates, like a lot of that.
You
Jeff, like,
brought up like three mind benders. Like
yeah,
all three of those dudes are legit mind benders. So like I can see how that would push your like spot selection. That's
yeah. I mean, by the time those guys were like blowing up, I think I was like kind of settling down. But yeah, I mean, those were fun years, and just watching those guys kind of take that whole, like, especially Howie. Like Howie's one of my favorite skaters to watch, and just
shout out to Howie.
yeah,
Crap.
I've seen him, like I've been to a spot and it would be like, I'm like one of those guys that's like, oh, like you could do that, and then everyone like laughs at you, and you're like, yeah, I'm never gonna do that. And then and then Howie will go and like do that thing. Like there's this ditch that we found that had these like vert wall transfers into like a lower bank, and I think I rode up and 180'd in, and that was like the coolest thing I had the balls to do at the time. But like one of them was like, they were kind of smooth, and it was like maybe it looked wax, like a skateboarder had done it, and I was like, yeah, someone needs to like grind that off the end in the bank. But, like, I'm not gonna do that. And then like Howie like top sold it and like threed into the bank. Like,
oh yeah, with like the owl 3. I think I remember that clip.
Just like was amazing style and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was one of those guys that could just like push the spot, and like even that's kind of a big example. Like he could do like just like amazing things on little stuff too, and like make little stuff look cool, like a little bump up a wall to grind a wall rail, or like all the tricks he's doing on wall rails.
I was thinking about that clip when you said when you go to a spot and you're like, oh, you could do this. That clip is like, oh, you could probably do that, but it's so impossibly hard to do that, what he did there, and to make it look that easy. Kudos to him.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, he was, I don't even know how that came up, but he did one little like wall bump up to it, like both feet, and how some people do like 1 foot kind of like cheating. Mm-hmm. He just like did it and like clipped the rail, and was like, oh, he can do that.
You consider 1 foot cheating?
No, I mean,
there's just two different actions.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Like, I think like there's more value in doing a wall ride or doing like landing in a bank with both your feet. I'm not like one of those like super hypercritical skaters. Like I do 1 foot wall rides all the time. Like,
you have a mean like cross grab wall ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, like if you're grabbing it, like that's purposeful. But if you're just kind of like kicking the wall,
no, I agree.
It might
you just need to show intent.
Yeah, it has to be intentional, not just kind of like not lazy, I guess.
Do you have any other rules?
Who's been getting you excited about rollerblading? Like who, like currently, like any new skaters that get you stoked?
Oh, Fifth Floor was like really awesome. I love David and Dom, and that whole crew is like really, it was really exciting to watch, because I love those like kind of like scene, like retrospective videos,
Mm-hmm.
You kind of like, you get like a glimpse into their lives, and you're like, that looks like fun. Like I missed that. So I like that. And then, like they're just skating incredibly, like hard stuff on cool obstacles. Yeah, Dom Bruce's section was like really amazing to watch. That guy's like, he's like chaos, beautiful chaos, I would call it.
He's got like an old ball. It's so sick, and it's like,
oh, I've seen him skate like Winter Clash, and he'll just like, you'll see him just like banging around the park, and then like he'll be like in a circle, but every trick he's doing is like amazingly difficult. And he's got like, I don't know how he has all that energy, but he's just like, it just looks like he'll get off a trick and he'll be like, all right, he's done, like, and then he'll just like turn around and charge up to the next thing. It's just like, wow, that guy has a lot of like endurance, and like he's able to like bring it back together like into like a beautiful looking trick.
that was actually one of my favorite parts about Fifth Floor, was how David showed him doing similar tricks on the same spot, but showing that the energy was there every time, even if it wasn't like his, like, he like showed the jazz of his skating. Like,
jazz is a good word.
Yeah. Yeah, Dom's amazing, and he's a fun person, so that's cool.
Yeah,
How was your experience filming for State of the Art? Because when that came out, everyone was like really excited about that, and it was like a mini Denver section with you and Howie, right? If I'm not mistaken. It's like kind of in there like that.
Jonas's video?
Yes.
You had like one or two in there, right?
Yeah. I think he came out like specifically to film Howie, and I think I just jumped in on a session, or two, but that was fun.
So he came specifically for Howie.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I mean, I would.
Yeah, that's a great choice. I don't think that's like a weird decision by any means, especially if you're going to have Howie skate.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to speak for what his intentions were, but I mean, he was with Howie and Walker, and they were taking him around, and Howie was getting like some really amazing clips.
He did. And Cody has one of my favorite clips in that video where he does like the wall ride and then like bumps into the other sided bank. It's like almost a double wall ride, but it's not. That one's really fucking sick. Denver showed up. That was...
Oh, yeah. Love Cody.
So I was diving around on your Instagram looking for a picture to post as your thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across a picture of you dressed up as Billy.
Billy who?
From Adventure Time.
Oh, yeah.
And that made me so excited. So I just want to like dive into like, you like cartoons? Like, is that something that...
I mean, I've always kind of been a nerd, like pop culture nerd, and like it was like Star Wars and stuff when I was a kid, and like comic books. I think I got into Adventure Time for my kid, for Arden, because it was like there's so much crap like shows, and none of them they're so boring, and like they just like have no like good like message or like feeling.
Yeah.
And we watched like one episode of Adventure Time, and we were like, oh my god, like this is great. Like it's got like humor for adults. It's like, nice and colorful and like funny for kids. I mean, I tried to show it to the 2.5-year-olds, and they're just kind of like, I think some of it's too much, but she was like 4 or 5 around then. So I was like, this is good stuff. We will binge watch this with you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love Adventure Time. So that brings me to, have you seen Midnight Gospel yet?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Listen to that shit.
I'm sorry?
I like to fall asleep listening to it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to watch it, really.
No, because it's based off of his podcast.
Yeah, it's like listening to a podcast. I mean, the visuals are obviously amazing, but they're not like, it's not like you're missing the story or anything.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of it's just like about like trippy philosophical stuff. And it just like goes right into a dream for me.
Yeah. The perfect segue.
I think I've watched like maybe half the first season.
Just the one season is out so far.
Yeah, my wife wasn't too into it, so I was like, it's like I had to watch it on my own.
Damn, really? It's the same creator. It's
Pendleton Ward. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty awesome guy. Yeah, I just wanted to. I love Adventure Time, so I had to bring it up. Billy is the best choice of character to like.
I think Ceci, my wife, killed it harder on her. What's the name of the character?
She was
River, or what's it called? Canyon, yeah.
Canyon.
She nailed it.
I love Billy, so I just and you and your beard was perfect for it, dude. It was spot on.
Yeah, we haven't in a while, but we used to get into like Halloween and like cosplay or whatever.
What other? Do you have any other notable Halloween costumes?
I think we killed it. We did a Princess Mononoke costume for my kid. The girl with the mask and like the wolf mane. Yeah, she really likes that movie. So we went to town. We made that from scratch. It was a lot of fun.
That's super sick.
I know this story, and I love funny stories, so I wanted to ask you to tell the story of the time you spent with Sharon Osbourne. Short that it may have been, but I think that story's great.
Sharon, is she the daughter or the?
Am I right, or is that the mom?
Sharon's the mom. Kelly.
You know the family. You were closer to them than me, so you'd know them better. Well, you had a brief interaction with her, didn't you? I've heard you tell this story. I really enjoy it.
I saw her in Boston.
Yeah.
Because I spent a summer in Boston at a film camp program.
Just for everybody, about what year is this?
2002.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, long time.
So you're in Boston at film camp.
They didn't even have the show yet.
Oh, sick.
But like people were like, "Oh, that's Ozzy's kid or something," and she was like in another like summer program or something. Yeah, I think I just saw her from afar. Is that the story I told you?
No.
Anything else?
What you told me you did was went up to her and said, "You're not Kelly Osbourne," and then she yelled at you and told you that she was in her accent, and you said, "Okay," and then you believed her.
There you go. There's the story.
I do enjoy that story. I don't know if other people will or not, but we told it here, so now people can know that story too.
I don't know. I did all sorts of funny shit when I was a kid. I wouldn't do that now, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you're a mature, grown man. You're the Duke of Denver. You know, behave.
That dude on Twitter, I'd be like, "Fuck you, Kelly Osbourne."
On her Facebook. I'm gonna go take a piss, boys. I'll be right back.
Not anonymously, because that's what everyone does.
So you went to the film camp when you were in high school?
Yeah.
What inspired that in Boston? Were you like skating and stuff for that time? That's kind of
yeah. That was like right when the Murda blocks came out, like ground control. I think I actually bought my first pair of ground controls in Boston from like Blades board and skate B3, whatever it's called.
It's pretty wild, like hearing about all the different cities that you were able to visit throughout your like high school years, and you're like coast to coast. And I'm pretty sure I'm right. You weren't born and raised in Denver. You maybe raised in Denver, but not born, correct?
I was born in New York.
Where in New York?
I grew up in Westchester, which is like suburb of Manhattan. Like the closest borough, I guess, is Bronx.
Was it a big part of your childhood, or were you there like kind of briefly?
I think moved when I was like 9 or 10.
Okay, so you grew up quite a bit in New York.
Yeah, like we had like the rollerblades, but I wasn't like into skating or anything. Like we didn't ever go to like skate parks until we moved to Denver. but then I'd go back like a lot, like every summer, because my aunts and my grandparents are from Jersey. My dad's from Ridgewood and Patterson.
And would you kind of plan that around the contests that were happening on the East Coast during that time?
I don't think I went to an East Coast comp until Last Man Standing.
Oh, okay.
Was that maybe that was later on? What was the one before that at the Brooklyn Banks?
No, that's where I saw you for the first time. Was at that Last Man Standing.
Yeah, with that like bank to the Jersey barrier,
Yeah.
Jersey barrier. Yeah.
And then they skated those rails late into the night.
Yeah. David. I think David won.
Yeah.
He won.
I think he Hurricane Topsoul that down box. It was insane.
Yeah, nuts. It was like pitch black. Everyone was like, can't see. I wasn't skating that shit. That was for sure.
No, I remember people would like land and there was a bunch of dirt or something. They would just explode backwards into the crowd. It was like really dangerous.
It was like landing into like a pile of leaves. No one raked up the leaf. No, that was later. Like I would go back and like visit my aunts and grandparents, and like they would take me to like Riverside, and I'd run into like the random like I think I met like Jesus Medina there. But like since I was with like family, I couldn't like go off street skating with them. And then I think I went back in senior year or junior, freshman year of college or something, and I met up with John Morsiglio and I think what was his name? Something Soto, one of the Sotos.
Anthony
Soto.
Shout out Anthony Soto. Great fucking true top horn.
Yeah. So I those guys took me around New York. And I think I met Billy and Austin on that trip. Like we took the ferry over to Staten Island. And that was actually on that trip, Billy did the gap to roll at the whatever that place is called, the stadium or whatever.
You were there for that?
Yeah, I filmed the long lens.
No way.
Because I had my camera, so they were like, "Oh, can you film this?" Austin was filming the fisheye.
That's like possibly one of the most epic tricks that's ever been done.
Oh, it's up there for sure.
Yeah,
You had the fucking money maker, dude.
I think he was like, "We have 2 cameras. Let's go."
Once you saw that second fucking red light turn on, he was good. That's so sick. So is that kind of how you got involved with Denial? Is that like from being on the East Coast, or is that through some other means?
I can't. Maybe I met Kilgore. I think Kilgore just hit me up like on whatever, He's like, just said, "Yo, like I like your skating, like like skate for me." And I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah!" Like now for sure.
Yeah, because your no rollerblading section is one of my favorites. Not gonna lie. Super tight pants, the giant shirts, basketball jerseys. Yeah, it's actually the reason why I skated Colts. You were skating the Elliott 3s at the time, and I bought a pair like shortly after.
Yeah, that was a big deal to like go back to the Colt boot.
Yeah, I thought it was so sick. And then even John started skating it like shortly after.
Yeah, I asked like I think I remember Acres because they were putting out like 2 or 3 skates a month,
Mm-hmm.
They weren't gonna send the Elliots to Flow, and I was like, dude, you gotta send me the Elliots instead of the whatever, icons or whatever were happening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So got those and I like them.
Yeah, but that probably made it a pretty easy transition, like right going into SSM too, like.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Same boot.
Yeah, but that was definitely.
I sized down for those. And that was kind of like Chinese foot torture.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. Did you guys do that?
I tried. Just torture yourself at some point just to try and size down. Yeah, I did that for maybe a year.
I don't have that issue.
You had to like cut the bridge off, like saw them down, all this. Like,
stretch it out.
Yeah, it it was like a lot of work to get just like skating.
I got a tiny ass foot, dude. I don't have that problem.
I have like long skinny feet, I think. They're not long, like I'm a size maybe 8.5.
So you have like the side to side movement in like the boot that fits your foot in length.
Yeah, I mean they just looked weird in the 8-9 or whatever. So I was like, I have to do like the 7, the 6-7.
That's not a skate.
My foot was like, it wasn't so much the length. I think like it was just like right where the ball, the front. I don't know what you call it. Where your foot gets wide before your toes.
Mm-hmm.
I know that weird thing on your foot, the ball.
Yeah, so you had to cut the boot open wider so like your foot would sit in there comfortably. And then like I just kept using liners because I couldn't fit the 6-7 liner, so I had the same pair of like size 8 jug liners that I kept reusing. So yeah, I used maybe like 10 years. I kept using those. Like
10 years.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
From the same pair of jug liners.
Yeah, from like 09 or 08 to like 2018, yeah.
Do you still have them?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
They probably smell like really nasty.
Yeah. Like compare them to like a pair of intuitions. Like how are we looking?
I've never tried those.
No. Damn.
No, I mean, I don't think there's anything special about them. I don't think they were like memory foam or.
You haven't tried them?
Oh, I was talking about the jug liners that I had, but.
Oh, I was sorry. I thought you were talking about the intuitions.
No, I've never tried them. People keep saying like they're really nice. And...
They smell really bad, like worse than any other liner for sure. That's my selling point.
You probably don't want to wash those, right?
Oh yeah, you do.
Joey mentioned something. Oh, sorry.
You can wash them. It's not gonna fuck them up.
Yeah, I've heard people take them in the shower with them like a dirty dog. Just scrub them while they're in the shower, and then you gotta like rinse them out really thoroughly, or else they're like, yeah, it's nasty.
A little bubble bath with your liners, dude.
Yeah, just set up some candles, some wine, have yourself a nice night with some dirty ass intuitions in the bathtub. Get yourself a little rubber ducky. Shout out Matty Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Joey mentioned something earlier. The basketball jerseys that you rock. Are you a big basketball fan?
I'm not into sports anymore, really.
You said anymore?
Yeah, anymore. Like I think at that point, like every Denver team was like pretty incredible. So it's kind of like I guess like you call me like a fair weather fan. I think the Nuggets, we had like Carmelo Anthony and like Iverson. It was like a really good team, and then I had Iverson jersey. He was like the badass.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to have the badass jersey, dude. And I think the Broncos are like maybe had won a Super Bowl a couple years around there. So I always like was into the Rockies when I was younger. Like those games are like really easy to go to and stuff.
Yeah, I was a football fan last year when when San Francisco was in the Super Bowl. I was like, yeah, I like football. I watch. But then once that was over, I was no longer a football fan.
Yeah, and it's like I used to work like cable, so it's like you gotta have something like to talk about with the people you work with. You know, like you're just gonna go in every day and like just not say anything. Like it's like all right, I gotta know what the fuck these guys are talking about. Like,
you got to do your homework real quick.
Yeah, they're doing like like the fantasy leagues and shit, and it's like I want in on that. So I did that and stuff, and then I think it was like up until like the Kaepernick shit, and I was just like, I'm so done like caring. It's like such a waste of time to like care about it, like put your time in like watching the games and like checking stats and all that shit. It's like I don't know. I guess I got kind of bored.
Yeah, team sports can get a little crazy with stats and names and time spent.
Yeah, I had this dude Royland lived with me for a while, and it's like Sunday was like we're getting a 12-pack and we're watching like a lot of games. So maybe that was like what got me into football.
Do you still play fantasy or anything like that, or nah? Just cold turkey on the sports. That's good.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think I watched like a couple minutes of the Super Bowl, but I don't even have cable. You know, it's like whatever.
So what's a regular day for Jeremy Spira look like these days? Are you like working like Monday through Friday? Give us like your Monday.
I mean, it's changed this year a lot. You know, I've been working from home most of the time actually, so pretty lucky to do that. But I have basically like 2 offices that I will go to, split my time between. So I'll go to like the co-working space and kind of work out of there for maybe a whole day or half a day, and then our actual office is like in another location. So I'll go there a couple times a week and just check in and work from there. But mostly just working from home. A lot of it's just like corresponding with brokers and like chasing down leads and like working with architects. Like we're trying to build an apartment building, and so that's kind of a new thing. Working with
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we have like an office building with a big parking lot, and so we're gonna like split up the parking lot and put a couple units in there. We've never done that before, so it's like pretty new for us. We're not like developers per se.
So it sounds like since COVID, you guys have really been shifting gears on what you're doing as a company. Am I wrong in saying that?
It's just accelerated a lot of things. Like,
Okay.
You'll hear people say that like COVID's accelerated a lot of trends that were kind of like already cooking up.
Yes.
And
So you would agree with that in your business, that it kind of kickstarted some of the things that needed to happen regardless?
For sure. Yeah, definitely. It's a good time to like refocus and reprioritize. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big into like capitalism and like big into like making all like being like a big money making person. Like um, I guess that's my contradiction in life. I do, but I do enjoy like doing like the creative things and like building a new business concept and like doing all the work like toward it. But it's not like I'm not like a big deals guy. I'm not like a big like I like to meet go out and meet like other brokers and schmooze people and like I probably look weird to most of the people I work with. Just having long hair or whatever.
Yeah, but at least you're enjoying what you're doing, and like you can, just because you're not like super capitalistic in the way that you're doing it doesn't mean that you don't see the value in what you're doing. Like you're bringing homes to people, you're letting people have places to work. Like it's all part of the game, but you're doing it in a constructive way, not a mean way.
I mean, I won't kid myself. Like I am a capitalist. Like
Of course.
I'm doing it. I'm part of the system, and for better or worse. I think the one saving grace I say is that like we're not like I just say we're building apartments, but we've never done that. So it's like not like I'm like I don't want to really do that. I want to like lease apartments and like manage apartments and like be a part of people's like everyday lives in that way. So I'm like I like that we're not on that end of like the real estate landlord kind of thing. So we might get into it, but maybe we'll just like sell it. We'll build it and just sell it to someone else.
Okay.
I think it would be pretty tough to like be engaged in like having to evict someone from their home or something because they can't pay rent. Like having to make that decision is not something I want to do.
Yeah, that must be the worst fucking place to be. Like
Yeah, especially right now, it's like
Yeah.
people are really struggling, and like, we're just talking about like offices and like companies struggling. So like, then you got to think about like their employees and like all the way down the chain. It's like, um, yeah, I'd hate to be like making that worse in someone's life by like kicking them out where they live. Like, you know,
Yeah, as far as jobs to have, that's got to be, if you could avoid it, you would not want it.
yeah, I won't. I'm not really interested in that.
Well, we've been at this for almost 2 hours with the Duke of Denver, Jeremy Spira. Do you have any last words for our viewers or guests? Anything you want to say to the rollerblading community?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were gonna like talk about like skate politics or stuff like that. So
I mean, we can go into skate politics.
Talk about some skate politics.
yeah, I mean, I thought if it came up, like I would just like have my little statement about like, like kind of like spin everything positively, because I think I think skating's like the way people are skating and like how far skating's come, and like the spots that people are skating on, like in fifth floor, like the
Oh,
stuff they're doing on obstacles is just, it's reached such like a great, like we're in such a good position and like doing our own thing, like I think we were talking about like pushing spots, like new spots, like away from like just handrails and like 10-20 stair gaps and stuff like that. Like we're like we've arrived, we were doing that, and then we've arrived at that point where we're just like pushing what you can do on those things.
this is cool. I'd like to talk to you a little more about this. And you're talking about the overall progression of skating. And I think what you're saying, like skate politics, is like people that are still like hammerhead guys, where it's like hammers are nothing. Like it's not the same anymore. Like it sounds like you wouldn't agree with those guys. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of voices out there and on the internet and stuff like that can say like can be pretty fucking negative about the state of skating right now. And it's like you kind of grow up in that, like that kind of like self-defeating mentality, like, and it's always been there. Like I just don't know why it's like still there, and like why it needs to be there, and why people engage in it rather than just like ignore it, like push it to the side. I think if we can like get to that point of just like being confident and like this is what skating is now. Like this, people are still doing all that big shit that Broscow and Aragon, like there are still people doing that. Like whoever's saying that that's not happening is full of shit and isn't paying attention. Like that's you telling on yourself right away, right there, that you're not part of the scene. You're not paying attention when you're saying like nobody goes big anymore. It's all like like little baby shit. And like, okay, well you just told on yourself. Like there are dudes like Nils and like Roscoe still skates. Like he still does. He's posting shit on his Instagram that like I would put like in my best section still. It's like
Story for giggles, dude. It's
for fun.
Yeah. If you're not watching Alex Broscow's story, there's a section a week on just chilling.
Yeah. So like, and I can't imagine like what his like if he is working on a section, it's got to be amazing, right? So yeah, I mean that's what I would say. I think it's mostly people that aren't really, they think they're like privy to what's kind of going on, but they're not. Ignore them, just ignore them. Like just don't go in that Blade chat group or whatever that's just full of like whatever. Don't screenshot it and like share it and get everyone all fucking riled up. Just ignore it, whatever.
I like your advice for people, because I think that's almost as annoying as the guys that are like the hammerhead. I'm going to just call them hammerhead guys. The people that engage and try and like reason with these people and get in fights on the internet when like you said, they already told them themselves, why are we going to blow them up even more? And then you get certain guys that are like all that, and they make claims about the entire state and like how we all can't handle things. Our feelings are getting hurt. It's just kind of, it's annoying to have that in our space after a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just part of like culture in general nowadays, and it's like you have to blast people to prove your worth or something, you know, like
Virtue signaling.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like performative stuff going on, and there's people that like really like mean what they're saying, and like, you know, like they live that every day, and like when, you know, they get really upset when someone's like, you know, a bad person is, you know, getting attention somehow, you know. And I get all that. Like, I get it's embarrassing to like bring up some you know, people that are problematic and like highlight them and stuff like that. Like, I get all that. Like, but at the same time, like, you could also just like ignore them and not, you know, like, and just not drive attention to them. You know, it's kind of circular, but like, if enough people just like ignored that shit, you know, the people outside who are looking in aren't gonna see it, you know. The people that are like, what's rollerblading doing these days? Oh, they're like tearing each other apart, you know. Whereas like, it's like,
And the outside sees that for sure.
they do. I mean, they always have. Like, it's always been like one of our kind of downfalls has been like just not being a cohesive type of like industry, or like, you know, having like being very cliquey within like the culture, and like, you know, like it was always like really rough, like when we were kids, and like trying to figure out like what was going on, what was cool and stuff. It's like, you had to skate with the right dudes, you know, you had to wear the right clothes, you know, like all that kind of stuff. I think we're like mostly over that. Like the, you know, like the general core of the culture is like embrace like we embrace like each other, no matter, you know, like in a more broad way than like we probably used to, which I think
I agree with that. I think just like even the act of rollerblading, it's not so, at least for me, I'm not like, you only aggressive skates the only things I'm gonna fuck with. It's like I'm like pretty open to all of it now at this point, because I like, it's all the same really when you start looking at it all. Fitness skating, any skating.
That's a perfect example. I mean, like, think about how many people like we're bringing in by like being inclusive of like big wheels and big wheel blading, and like, you know, we're not saying that like big wheel blading has to be like cool and do jumps and gaps and stuff. Like, we're just saying like it's the same kind of activity, you know, like, you're welcome to like cross over, you know, like even in Denver, there was kind of a crossover between our like nightly skate scene and like this whole scene of like Wednesday night big wheel skating. We would, you know, before COVID, we were seeing like a bunch of new people show up, and then like a bunch of us, you know, a bunch of people, aggressive skaters, were going to those sessions. So it was cool. You meet a lot of hot chicks, you know. It's like, it's good for them.
Yeah, this is definitely the time. If you are a rollerblader, a single blader, there's lots of hot chicks getting on skates right now. You can go on Instagram, you find them all. They're very famous on Instagram.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, but I'd like to go back on the flip side of that coin. A couple, not too long ago, if someone showed up to the skate park in rec skates, they might have been like a little bit. They might have got fucked with. Honestly,
The hammerheads would have freaked out.
Yeah.
They'd be
like,
like, oh,
so I love that we're on this path to acceptance of everybody's individuality. You know, like nobody would think twice about someone showing up in a pair of 4x80s to the skate park at this point, because it could just be some dude that does that on his, instead of aggressive skating, or it's a guy that does that, like that skates those skates. So it's yeah, it's pretty beautiful.
I mean, it's like, it's not, you don't have to like be friends or like hang out with a crew of like big wheel skating, but like, it's just an attitude. It's like about your attitude. It's like, if your attitude's like, oh, that's cool, like, you're welcome, like, please join us if you want, like that kind of thing, like inclusivity rather than like exclusivity, you know, that's just like, that's so good. Like there's not, what's the problem? You know, like I think like people are a little like, it's like this image conscious thing is still pretty prevalent. Like even people that are like more creative and into, you know, different kinds of skating and stuff like that, but it's still kind of like a core mentality. And I'm guilty of this, like, you know, and I think I'm chilled out a lot about, you know, just like being accepting of different like styles and thoughts of skating. But yeah, I think that like that core mentality, that core of skating is always going to be like what people see, what people like maybe are favoring or like they like about, you know, what we do. But you don't have to be like exclusive, you know. You can have it both, you know, like you can be the cool core skater and also be like, you know, allow big wheel skaters to like come to your skate park. I don't know. I think I'm making up something here now.
No, but you
No.
also brought up something great, which was just because you're inclusive doesn't mean that they necessarily have to be your best friend or anything along those lines. That doesn't even mean you have to like
Ruin your,
like the person, you know? Just the fact that you were kind enough to extend that offer or like those types of things are better than not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, you know, maybe I'm making them, it's like not even a real issue. I'm just like on the internet too much. I'm like,
I mean,
from afar, but
I think as like an example, when I first started seeing like the way Robbie Pitts would present himself, I was like, I don't know. I just looked at it and I was like, I don't know about this. But then like the more you watch it and I like just kind of like you said, you kind of melt away that hardcore mentality thing where you're like, it has to be this way. This is the only way. And skating's just as core as anyone else's, if not more creative and pushed more limits than a lot of other people. So it's like in the end, at the end of the day, my first impression was wrong.
he's like the nicest dude ever. Like you think some mom's gonna like, you know, some mom's gonna see his Instagram and be like, wow, this is like a beautiful thing. Like this is a really nice guy, and like I'm totally gonna buy my kid some skates and like, you know, it's not very like standoffish, you know. And I come like I grew up listening to like punk rock and stuff, so it's like why am I I'm gonna like tell this guy that I don't like how he dresses, you know, like that's he's more punk rock than like 90% of skaters, like just being himself and like not caring, you know, what people think of how he skates or what he's wearing, and just like boom, fucking fashion outfit, like hell yeah, dude. I like
Yeah.
Maybe
that.
not for Gucci. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah, dude. Sure.
That's fucking sick.
Well, you know, if you got it, you know, like
Flaunt it.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm a weird looking guy, so I know where I know my niche.
You're talking to a couple weird looking guys too.
Yeah, we're all niche products for sure.
We're a bunch of East Coast mutants, you know, something in the water.
For
It's all
sure.
good, baby.
Ninja Turtles.
I was really in the Ninja Turtles.
Well, I'm glad you
Forget about it.
forget about it.
I'm from the large apple.
Bunch of sauce monkeys.
What the fucking spaghetti head.
That was one of the I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't realize what you meant about skate politics, but I'm glad you brought this message because I think this is one of the things like why we wanted to talk to you too. We've been able to spend time with you like at different contests and you're with my brother a lot. Feel like I've gotten to know you a little bit better. So this was essentially one of the things I wanted to get out of you was your view on skating. You did it better than us asking the question.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, I mean, like I said, it's changed over the years, but like I'm very like like not even just with like how everyone else is skating, but like just my own skating, like how comfortable I am just like skating the way I do. Like I realize like I can't. I'm maybe not as like can't do all like the technical shit. I can't like if I do a big gap that I mean I never really did huge gaps, but like even if I did try, like I would be in pain for a long time, and like I'm kind of feeling the limits a little bit, like starting to get sore and like joints are hurting, but um but just figuring out how to skate within that, like within those parameters, like I really enjoy my skating right now, like maybe more than ever. Like is what I'm trying to say. Like I have fun skating. Like I go out and like, even if we're not filming for Ian, you know, or like whatever we're filming for, like if we're just like meeting up with like Jim at the skate rail behind the BLC house, like those are just like good fun times. Like just, or like going to skate at a parking garage and bombing them, you know, like bombing a parking garage is like one of my top 5 skating activities, you know.
Gotta bomb a Twitch fakie at least once, you know.
Yeah, just send it.
So much fun.
So yeah, I mean, I think skating's like amazing, and it's at like a really great spot, and I just want people to like feel confident in that and like embrace that, and just like just block out the noise, you know, like, and like it'll catch on. Like I think that catches on, like that confidence and that positive attitude, like people are attracted to that, like a light, you know. It's just like when you watch the Fifth Floor, like they don't care, like they're just having so much fun, you know. Like maybe some of them are sponsored, maybe some of them aren't, like who cares? It's like a group of friends having fun. Like those are the videos you remember watching when you were a kid, and you're like I want to do that, you know. Like I want to hang out with friends and skate.
Well, the Duke, that was one of the best endings I think we could have ever had. Thank you so much for coming on here with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. You guys are the shit for doing this.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you.
We're doing it for everyone.
It takes a lot, you know. It takes a lot of balls to like talk to people.
Yeah, we're getting it as we go. It's
yeah, dude.
We're not the smoothest at this yet.
Yeah, dude.
It's better, you know.
You asked a better question than us, so it's.
I thought, you know, it was like I was like thinking like what we would talk about, and that was like the one thing that I was like, I'll talk about that.
Sick. Well, thanks again, and bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.